would not get kapara for his sins. He will not get an atonement for his sins. What's better, to suffer in the next world or to suffer here? It's better to suffer here and to go over there clean. So therefore, a person should appreciate this, that he has isurim. The suffering a person goes through cleanses him of his sins. He has to accept the suffering with love. Rabbi, I'm going through a hard time. This person I know is sick. This loved one's sick. Rabbi, I'm very the tough time with parnasa. I owe a lot of money. What am I going to do? Rabbi, shalom bayit. I can't figure out what to do with my shalom bayit. All these things are suffering, and a person has to accept it with ahava. And Hashem is doing it for your benefit. There's no father who wants to hit his son for no reason. If he's hitting his son, he should know it's for a good reason. There's something very good that will come out of it. The greatest part of the suffering is the to'elet, the purpose that Hashem is giving you, is putting you through this in order to come out the other side a changed person. It's removing this pagam, this blemish that a person has from a sin, from the grech. So if a person has to realize you're going through a tremendous spiritual cleansing, and spiritual cleansing is not always pink and beautiful, but at the end of the day, it is for the greater good, and a person should appreciate it that Hashem is doing it here and not in Olam Haba. הנה, כי כן האיש ירא מהעבירות שבידו, צר לו מאוד מהמוות שפגם למעלה, יקל לו, יערב לו, יבוסם לו כל מיני איסורים לתקן אשר עיוות. We know that a person who used to fast, people used to roll in snow, people used to give a lot of tzedakah in order to make themselves suffer, in order as a kapara for their sins, because they felt very bad they did sins, and they want to rectify the spiritual blemish they made in Shamayim. So therefore, if they accept themselves willingly suffering, so therefore they would also fix this pgam. So how much more so when a person, Hashem puts you through it, a person has to go through it with love. He says, person has to realize everything is temporary. When you're rich and doing good and everything is blissful and everybody's smiling at you and everything's going your way, that's also temporary. And when you're suffering and when things are not going well and the money is going down the tubes and everyone is fighting with you, that's also temporary. Olam galgal, the world is round and it goes up, you're down, up and down. So he says, Ketzel of over porech ba'avir. The Midrash says it's like a shadow that is flying by. It will disappear in the air. And in this that you will get more olam haba. For this that you suffer here now, and you'll get more olam haba. This is better than anything in this world. Therefore, if you didn't get the car you wanted, you didn't get the house you wanted, you didn't get the business deal you wanted, things didn't work out exactly as the plan, you should not get upset and you should not think too much about it, because everything's temporary, and even more so, maybe this suffering that you're going through, it's cleansing you, it's actually better for you. Hashem is giving you a big spiritual vitamin. He says there's different types of suffering. Sometimes Hashem gives suffering, suffering of love. What is suffering of love? What a person didn't do really any sin right now that Hashem is to punish him, but Hashem just wants him to get cleansed from all his sins that he did in the past, and he's giving a suffering of love. The Gemara says, how do you know something is suffering of love? The Gemara Brachot says, if you could still learn and pray and focus on service of Hashem, but the in between makes it uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable to go and to do the mitzvot because there's something bothering you, but overall you could still focus, overall you could still serve Hashem. It's a Yisuri Shel Ahava. And the Gemara says about Rabbi, he used to have tremendous stomach pains. He had a lot of stomach pains. He was able to pray, he was able to go learn, he was able to do his thing, but he always had stomach pains that would bother him, and the Gemara says this, he knew it was Yisuri Shel Ahava. It was suffering of love that Hashem wanted to cleanse him in this world, so that way in the next world he will be clean and only have Olam Haba. He says a person has to have in his mouth the rule, which is actually halacha in Siman Resh Lamed Seif Hey. The person has to be accustomed to saying Kol David Rahmana Letav Avid. Everything Hashem does is for good. Bog dayot, if God gave it to you, it means it's for you. It means it's good for you. So therefore, a person has to halacha. He has to always say, okay, somebody says, okay, now this broke, you have to pay $700. And then all of a sudden, the kid has problems in school, and now you have to go get a meeting with the Rabbi. Now all of a sudden, your wife is complaining about nothing, and you don't understand why. You gave her everything, and she's still complaining. Why? Why is all this happening to me? The person has to tell himself right away, Everything Hashem does is for the best. Not for no reason Hashem did this. It's only for my benefit, and only I have to be sameach. The story the Gemara gives about there was one person. He was on a boat and he was on the lower deck, and the rich people were on the upper deck, and he was so happy. And they asked him, "Why are you so happy?" He says, "Today I was able to tap into the level of all the suffering is from Hashem and from love, and I was so happy I passed the test." He says, "What was your test?" I was standing lower deck. Some rich guy went on the upper deck. He had to relieve himself. He went on the side. He relieved himself, and they landed on my head. He says, when I saw this happen to me, I passed the test. I said, everything is from Hashem. There's something good that's going to come from this. He says, once I was able to be happy and pass this test, I was so happy I was able to. I realized I reached the highest level of accepting Yisurim Ba'ava. So you see, a person can even get to a level where it doesn't make any sense, but he knows that Hashem makes sense. Hashem is right who did it to him. Therefore, we should accept it with love. Baruch Na'ala.